Independent, Milwaukee. That means I love. Welcome to the check-in. Hey, we told you we're changing names, we changing things, but one thing we ain't changing is we got to start with those P and P's.
Got it.
We got permission and we got prayers to start the show.
I love it.
I'm Kweku Dr.Alisia.
And I'm Dr.Alisia Moutry.
Who we got in the studio with us? Jermaine Byron. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I'm like, okay.
It just got quiet.
Who in
It's
the
like,
studio
I don't know
with
who in there.
Well, I'm here. Be over there. Man,
So me there, be there, who there, me there, be there.
Be there, know that.
Well, Happy New Year is what
Happy
I want to
New
start off
Year.
by saying. Happy New Year.
Happy New
And
Year.
most of you noticed we changed the name. And I'm going to tell you, we have some dialogue about
Come
that
on.
real quick. So we were trying to think about a different name, starting with the new year, starting with some new owners. We're like, what a new name we would have. So we came up with 4 names.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you what they. So it is our show is called The Check-In, right, Jermaine?
Yeah.
But now we had some other options. We thought about Lift Every Voice was one option. We thought about Between Breaths as an option. We thought about safe spaces. So what we did is we decided to keep the check-in, but we created a tagline with all those words in there, right? So right now what we're saying is that we get the opportunity to check in with everybody.
Yeah.
With you mentally, physically, and spiritually,
Come
right?
on.
But and what we want to do when we do that is we want to be able to lift every voice.
Yeah.
And we between the breaths, we want to be able to create safe spaces
Yeah.
locally and nationally. So we're able to merge all of that stuff in there together. Yeah. So you are listening to the check. Want to do it? Yes, he'll do it. Yes, he will do it. So what a privilege that we have to be able to check in with our community on a regular basis.
Yeah, and check in with each other. You know, it's like I just want to give a shout out to my circle because yesterday, man, Jermaine Byron, I was just kind of going through it a little bit. It was my dad's birthday. He's been gone. And so, you know, like just some days just hit different.
Yeah.
And I had a good day that Monday. It was a little stressful because, you know, you're coming back in from the vacation. I was just like, I said, I ain't going into work. I said, I just need to take a me day. I just need to just chill. And, you know, you'll post something sometimes online. And man, when people come in and just say, hey, I'm praying for you. I'm thinking about you. I know that pain. I'm with you. It's amazing. So it's like when we talk about the check-in, it's like, how do you check in on the people who you love? And when you get checked in, oh man, it brightens your day in a way you can't imagine. Because I would get a text and I didn't even have to respond, you know, right away. But it was just somebody said, hey, I feel you. I'm praying for you. Keep your head up. Do what you got to do. I'm glad you took that time. So when you get those little bitty things like that, it's just amazing when you check in. So we telling you, make sure you check in on the people who you love, but most importantly, check in on yourself.
Hey, can I go to the opposite side of
Let's
that?
go
So
to
you
that.
receive the check-ins.
Yes.
And so I'm going to send a message out to those that sometimes certain people just keep popping up in your head. You know, Jermaine, you're on my mind for some reason. I don't even know why. I'm saying, let's make sure that we take the time to say, you know, that's not by chance that you're on my mind.
Right.
Let me check in just to be like, how you doing today? I'm just thinking about you. You good?
Yeah.
Somebody just did that to me too. So again, it's great to receive it, but also if it's on your heart of that someone or somebody you haven't talked to in a long time, please let this be your reminder that they need to be checked in on.
Holistically.
There you go. I love it.
Because I'm going to check in with Alicia. Alicia, give me $15.
I'm gonna check out. And that's when I'm checking out. So anyway, today we are going to be talking. We got a topic today because we started thinking about this. And so you're starting a new year. We want to talk about peace in 2026.
All right.
Peace. And I'm not talking about a piece of something, but I'm talking about peace like that surpasses all. What are you talking about? Oh, there's a lot of different pieces. I was thinking about, you know what? Lord.
Jermaine, when somebody says she gonna give you a piece, I'm like,
Lord Jesus.
And I thought you were saying you were talking a piece. That's what I thought you. See, that's why we got to define what we're talking about. When we talking, so
that's a homophone. You got to make sure we know which one we're talking about.
Yeah, no. So we're talking about peace. We're talking about
peace.
Nope. We're talking about peace. I'm talking about inner calmness. A piece of your love. I'm talking. No, not that kind of peace either. This is not going to be good already. Can I please check in with the community out there? No. Okay. So seriously, that's a good point because we are talking about peace. We're talking about the absence of conflict in someone's life. We're talking about inner calmness, right? So when we're talking about peace, that's what we're going for.
Be still.
Peace be still. And so the question that we have for the listening audience, and the title of it is, the question is, what do you need to add or subtract in your life to create more peace in 2026? What do you need to add? What do you need to subtract? And so we're going to open the lines up to our listening audience. You can call at 444-5250. And what we like kind of give you a thought about it, to say, if you want to call in, why don't you give us a call in and tell us what is it that you add in your life to make sure that you have more peace in your life? What are some things like right now as you're thinking about to say, if I delete this out of my life, I will be able to have more peace? I want you to be able to call in and share those. And so in between time, between callers, we kind of came up with a little something, right?
All right.
We have an acrostic that sort of where you take each letter of the word peace, and we are going to provide you thoughts on how you could either add, and then also we have the other side of the piece where we say, hey, and these are some things maybe that you need to subtract from your life.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the P of peace. And again, we're talking about the peace, the one that is talking about the absence of conflict, and we're talking about and the inner calmness of, that's what we're talking about when we talk about harmony, freedom of conflict. Those are the kind of things that we're talking about. So the P in peace, I think the first one, I'm going to go with the first one. I'm going to say, and if, again, I always say, if you're a note taker, we always end up having something that maybe you want to look back on at a later date. We're going to be giving you letters. We're going to take each letter of the word peace and provide you with some thoughts about what you can do for 2026 to either add or subtract peace into your life. So the first letter is the P, and I'm using the one, I'm going to say prioritizing yourself. Okay, so like your needs are not optional. And I know, especially as a Black woman, sometimes we put everybody's needs before we do our own. And so what we're saying, if you want to be able to provide more peace in your life for 2026, you need to prioritize yourself. You need to prioritize your rest, prioritize your nourishment, prioritize your joy, and all of that stuff belongs on your calendar. So, and what I mean by that is to say, when you think about what you have going on the next couple of days, what do you have on your calendar that actually will bring you joy?
No, and I love that, because when you talk about prioritizing, I think, okay, well, then I need to plan this in. The whole saying is, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. But when you're planning is, you say, okay, what do I need to do? And when you put in A, B, C, and D, that's when you look and say, am I in there anywhere? Because you will see that you prioritize a great list, but it had nothing to do with you. So I love that ability.
Yeah, and even that nourishment. Do you know, sometimes we're getting the kids lunch ready for school, we're packing the husband lunch, and then it's time for me to eat. Oh, man. I didn't even think about myself, and I'm stopping at a fast food place to pick up something. No, that's not a way to do it.
And I think about Mama Daisy. She would cook for all of us. She would cook, Jermaine. She would cook for the whole
in the
family.
Morning,
and then
what does she cook? Just go ahead and just tease me a little bit, because I didn't eat this morning.
Oh, well, so this is funny. So my grandmother never said variety. She said variety. She said, I cooked a varieties of food. And we said, you cooked a variety. Yeah, I cooked a varieties of food. So for breakfast, I mean, it could be, it was so weird, because she did
homemade
breakfast
biscuits
and lunch. So we left with a hot food and we came into hot food. So for breakfast, you get grits, you get bacon, you get sausages, you get the links, you get the patties, you get toast, you get eggs, you get all the type of stuff to drink. But then when we came home, you get anything from chitlins to hamburgers. It could be the quick meal, but we always had greens and cornbread, and that's when Kool-Aid was 10 cents a pack. So you always had that. So that was our drink. The family in the picture.
It was always sweet. But the point of it is, right?
She took care of everybody before she did that. And sometimes she wouldn't eat herself, and she was like, well, I get pleasure from seeing y'all eat and do it. But we was like, you also had to sustain yourself. So when we talk about that, you have to be careful. But now this is the thing, like you talk about P's, like you have to prioritize. Most of the times when we do these acronyms, there's always some positive. Like it's like, this is what I got to do. But I said, you know what? We also got to be careful. And we got to think about what are the stuff that we're not supposed to do, that when we're doing wrong. So I said, if you want to keep peace, the next P is people and places. You got to know who are the people who steal your peace. What are the places that steal your peace? What are the places you're not supposed to go? These are the things where you know already, even if you do, you say, this trouble, this a red flag. I know I shouldn't be here. If I'm going here, I know I'm going into the den of death. I know I'm going into trouble. I know I'm in a place where I'm not supposed to be. So if you're in any place or with any people that doesn't give you peace or take away your peace, you got to be careful. And I'm not telling people this, stay away from your family, stay away from your friends, but you got to be careful about what positions that you put yourself in. If you know, like we can say it in a thing, if I know that I got a problem with drinking, I don't want to be near a bar. I don't want to be near people who are going to be drinking all the time. If I got a problem with doing drugs and I know that this is the dope house, I don't want to go there. If I know once I go here, all these people, all they want to do is argue and fight, and I don't want to do that. And you know where I learned this at, Jermaine? When I was on probation, you always one step away from going to jail.
Yeah.
All it is one call to your probation officer, and you know it. So when I was on probation, man, I had to walk on eggshells like never before. I'm thinking like, I can't be with you because you got a record. I can't go over here because I know where this is at. And if this man get a call, I already know what my dilemma is. And so once that time period was over, I started thinking, okay, now let me put myself in that proper place. So how I kept my peace was to be able to be like, not only what to do, but what not to do.
Oh, I love that too. And I can even think, as you were talking, I just started thinking about the people. There are certain people I can think about in my mind. Like, I know for a fact when they get in my space, they just drain every bit of me. And so that goes back to the first P that we're talking about, prioritizing yourself. So we're not saying you don't always like just stay away from that person always, but understand there's a time and place. But again, I got to prioritize myself, because when I prioritize myself, I fill my cup. Then I got a little bit to give. So when that person that comes around, I can give them just a little bit. So we got the first one, P, prioritizing it. Then sometimes you got to stay away from certain people and certain places. All right. So that's P of peace. The next one is E, and I'm gonna go with we got a couple different ones, but the one that's on my heart right now is, I'm gonna call it the energy check. And what I mean by that is this: sometimes you got to know what type of energies certain situations bring you. So we talk about those people and the places. You need to know and notice what fuels you. Right. And you got to know what drains you. Self-care, sometimes it requires you to choose the environments that you want to be in. Like we talked about, the people, the tasks that you involved yourself in. It's really important. So when I think about what fuels you, I think about like, what are you excited about? What are you like anticipating? I was just talking to you recently. I was talking to you recently about the book that I was reading, Happy Women Live Better by Valerie Burton. She talks about different things that people can do to keep themselves happy. One of the things she talks about is having something to anticipate, like having stuff on your calendar that brings you joy that you can look forward to. I love when we get together. We had actually talked about sometimes when we finish the show, are we going to go out to eat together? So I look forward to those things. But then there's that other side, things that drain you. Like, I want you to think about, in the listening audience, there's some things that you have to do and you do it grudgingly. It drains you till you can't understand how you feel.
No, I love that. I was just thinking like that anticipation when you told me that. I was just like, yeah, you know what? When we know we got a vacation coming, the prepping for the vacation is sometimes better than the vacation itself. Because I got to buy this. I want to get this ready. I want to do this. Or if you know you got a date coming up, if you know that you're going to do something like tonight, I got to go to my son's wrestling. And it's parents' night. So like, I am looking forward to walking. I remember when my parents walked me down for parents' night for football. And it's like those memories. So to go from that one side to the other end of it, it's a blessing, but the anticipation of what that is. And that's just, it doesn't have to be humongous. Right. That's the beauty of the anticipation. Right. It doesn't got to be, I'm going all the way over to Hawaii or whatnot like that. It could be like,
I mean, that's nice too, but
no. I think like looking forward to going to church on Sunday is a great anticipation. Like, I'm going to get fed. I think, like you said, when it's the holidays, I'm going to be around family. So those things to anticipate. And I think that's why traditions are so powerful and beautiful for us.
My mother totally loves the holidays because that's when all the family gets together. I love when I schedule an outing for my girlfriends where, it's a month down the line, but I cannot wait for that Tuesday night or that Thursday night or that brunch that we're going to do on Saturday. Again, if you have not had something on your calendar, if you don't have something on your calendar right now, take a peek at it. It's on your phone. I see you pulling it out. What do you have between now and the end of January that you have something that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward. Sister Janetta Herrera always does a Martin Luther King celebration over at Claiborne Benson. And that's something that I look forward to because, the Y has theirs. The PAC has theirs, and then there's other things that's coming up that's going, but she's been doing this for over 2 decades. And once you have something that you've been doing, and what I love about it is she has local speakers, she has national speakers to come in, but then you have vendors where you can buy some things. It's sort of like with Kwanzaa, like, I could buy this, I could get that. So that's one of the things I'm anticipating.
Okay, and I got one more community thing that I'm looking forward to. January makes me think about our cousin Mohib Dyer. Yeah. He has a calendar every January. We can exchange that. Children are crying. So this just popped in my head as you were talking about that. I look forward to that. I have that on my back door. The calendars there, I get to see the pictures every month, and I look forward to writing on there. The poetry, the pictures. So if you haven't gotten the Children Are Crying calendar, that's a quick little plug for you, Mohib. That is a wonderful calendar, something that I typically personally enjoy and look forward to.
No, I love it, and I think one of the things when you talk about that is like when you anticipate something, that puts the pressure on the people because Mohib's been doing that calendar again for over 2 decades also. So I know that's that's a great labor. But when you hear everybody say, I can't wait for the calendar, that gives you the strength. Because we always say, I don't want to do this no more. I ain't doing this no more. But then when you see what it means to other people, that gives you the energy. So that's like another check-in. Check in with the people and let them know the things that they're doing is not in vain, that you do appreciate it. Because sometimes that's the motivation that can change a person from doing something to not doing something. They didn't do it. And they'd be like, well, you didn't do it. They said, well, I didn't know it meant that much to you or to the community.
That is exactly right.
So it's big. But on the opposite side, I want to talk about another E that's not good. And that's exacerbate. And so when you think about exacerbate, being a positive psychologist, I believe in the power of words. And they said, your mind is like a steering wheel. If you wanted to go left, turn it left. You wanted to go right, you turn right. So whatever you think is true. So if you think I can't, you're right. If you think I can't, then you're right. So it's a matter of what you believe. So by exacerbating, what I mean is when something negative is going on, don't exacerbate it. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Now you want to respect that molehill so it doesn't become a mountain, but I don't want you to see something negative that comes and then make it bigger than what it is, because that's what steals your peace. They say that the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. I think you know something about fear a little bit over there, but I don't know if you want to spit that a little bit. You want to spit a little fear? I don't know if you're where your memory at. I'm gonna see what you got in your mind. You remember? Okay, so when we talk about fear, though, honestly, it's like often the things that we imagine that's going to happen never happen. And so you've already wasted energy, you have wasted time. And so I'm going to tell you, like, if something is going on in your life, it's a problem, because we always have something coming around the corner that could potentially be dangerous. Don't make it more than what it is. Don't give it more life. Don't breathe more into it. So when I say exacerbate, don't make it bigger than what it is. I'm saying respect it, because it's probably an issue if we're thinking about it, but just understand, hey, this is probably not what I'm making it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with it. It's like, think of it like this. The doctor called you because you had a growth and you worried and you worried and you worried. We don't know what it's going to be. But if you've already imagined in your mind what it is and what's the sequelae, what's the aftermath, and you start planning your obituary, and then they call, they say, oh, you know what? It's benign. It's nothing. You'd be like, man, I did all that work
I wasted.
But then on the flip side, let's say it was malignant. Let's say it was cancerous. You done wasted all that time worrying. Well, now you need that energy, and you done wasted it before. So I said, what we want to do is make sure that we respect all of our situations, but don't make them more than what they are. So it destroys our peace.
Right. And when you were talking about that one piece of it, sometimes we dig into a topic and we just, like you said, we automatically go to the negativity. I remember we did a show about that last year, talking about, stinky thinking. Absolutely. Yeah. It was just like that ant theory, automatic negative thoughts. So if in fact you hear something, somebody calls and they say XYZ to you right away, oh, they have an issue, or they don't like me, or they, are doing it to get into my, to get into my side, or to, like make me angry about something right away, instead of like going into that negative piece, always coming with that positive intention.
You know what? Remember that time Jermaine lost his headphones? He was blaming everybody.
I remember that.
Like, Jermaine, slow down.
I know.
We're going to fire you.
Just relax. And then think about, everybody has good intentions. Did nobody take your headphones, Jermaine?
Somebody got my stuff.
More protection than some, ain't it?
See, and the funny thing about that, what you tell us the truth, Jermaine. It's like you go through situations where you do it, and you be like, I see how I let this steal my peace. Yeah. It wasn't nothing that should have been able to steal my peace, but I imagined something in my mind and head and was going and whatnot like that. And I found out not only did I steal my peace, I literally stole my peace.
Yes, you did. And you know what was interesting about that? So let's be honest. Kweku was the one that lost the headphones, but he was all in his feelings about it, trying to find them. But it not only did it bother him for days or whatever, at least a day, because you figured out what it is, but it also it snowballed to me, because I'm thinking I'm the big sister protective, like, who did take those? Or like, so I mean, it carries on.
I had the whole station looking
we had to look at videotape, y'all. I'm gonna just be
looking under tables.
And guess who took the headphones? Dr. Kweku.
And we coming back between breaks. We gonna be back on the track. We see you on the other side, Milwaukee. We love you.
to the check-in. We are on WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. We're talking today about how we bring peace into
Peace.
2026. And we're talking about peace, talking about the absence of war, the calmness, the inner calmness. So that's what we're talking about today when we're talking about peace. And what we've been doing is providing examples of how to add peace to your life. And then what are some things possibly that you need to do to subtract things out of your life so that peace is established. If in fact you have things in your mind that you want to like share with the listening audience, feel free to give a call at 444-5250. We're looking for things that maybe you decided as a result of 2026 to say, here are some things in my life that I need to add to create more peace. And then here are some things that I'm saying, yeah, I want to have more peace. If I get rid of these things, maybe more peace will be involved in my life. That's what we want to do.
I'm with you.
So we've had an opportunity to talk about some letters within peace. We've talked about, again, having opportunity to prioritize yourself. We've been talking a little bit about like that energy check, saying like, hey, does this bring me happiness or does this like bring me down? So you do an energy check on the people, the places, the things that you're involved in. We also are ready to get to the A, but I'm going to see if you want to say anything, Dr. Kweku.
Well, no, I'm just going to say on the opposite side of that, what we said, what we need to avoid is we said we need to avoid certain people, places, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And then on the E side, that we don't want to exacerbate things. We don't want to make things bigger than what they are and let things steal our joy when they shouldn't have the ability.
Right.
Making mountains out of molehills.
I love it. And so if you're taking notes, we've given you the P, we've given you the E, and now we're going to go to the A. And my A that I'm picking, like I said, we've got a list of a lot of things, but we're going with our gut, our heart, hoping that we'll be able to say something that our listening audience may decide.
Stop. The A you got to have in your life, you got to have an Alicia.
Oh,
You got to have an Alicia. That's what gives me my peace. That's
wow.
my A.
Wow, well, that was so kind. Well, I appreciate that, sir.
Okay, what's your A?
Okay, the A that I had was, but thank you for that. That was sweet. I'll take the flowers today. I have A as allow for rest. Allow rest. And so a lot of times we kind of started talking about when you prioritize yourself, sometimes you don't take the rest that you need. I came up with this in the middle of my sleep last night, or you know how you wake up with thoughts in your head, and I thought to myself, when I was supposed to be resting, right? I was not prioritizing myself. I was prioritizing this work here, right? But I thought about it. I said, plan for your rest, or someone may have to plan to lay you to rest. Right?
Say that again.
Okay, so plan for your rest, or someone may have to plan to lay you to rest. Right. And so what I'm thinking about, so when I think about that, I kind of go, you know what? I've got to take time. I've got to calendar it because I'm important. It's important. It's not a reward. It is a requirement for you to do what you need to do. And so I just wanted to say before I get into this, when I begin to think about when I do decide to rest, I calendar that thing. I'm telling you, I silence my phone. I make sure I call folks first. Let me call my brother. Let me call my mom, my husband, make sure things are okay. My boys are good. So let me silence that phone. Let me where am I going? Like when I decide that I'm going to rest, where am I going? It's either going to be like soaking in the tub or it's going to be my chair recliner.
Because I was going to say, we all know what it is. Sunday at
That's
6 p.m. Don't call that phone unless it's an emergency. You don't call that phone.
That is, but it is my rest on my calendar. And then also you got to even think about the location. Where are you going to rest at? You know, where are there less distractions? When I think about my chair, I also make sure that I have things in order. So I know I may want some food. I may want some water. It's nothing worse than to lay back in that recliner and then all of a sudden go, man, I didn't use the restroom. I forgot my water. So you need to plan it out and don't just take rest that's like a reward. No, it is a requirement.
All right. Well, I guess we got a call on the phone. So you caller, you got a question or a comment talking about how to get peace in 2026.
In 2026? Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum to you all.
Well, alaikum salam, Brother Christopher. How you doing?
Definitely.
I made it to 2026.
All right. We making
it. Yes, sir. I think Allah is not done with us yet. So you all were speaking about the word peace.
Yes.
And I think you were breaking it down with regard to its spelling. P, prioritizing. E, I didn't catch that.
Energy check.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. PEA. So prioritizing Allah and excluding all negative possibilities or probabilities.
Yeah.
Being extremely analytical about presence. And making no exceptions to self-preservation that would contribute to self-elongation or extension from the present to the future. So I'm saying I'm not a philosopher. So
Sound like you may be. I don't know.
Scientifically is this is what the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad are. They're based in science. And I went to school to study science because I was told as a child that is what I would be. So anyway, it's not about me. What I'm saying that to contribute to the conversation, exclusively prioritizing Allah God, excluding on an atomic and electron level the presence of any negative persons that could produce extreme situations that would not be beneficial to your or my elongation. Excluding the negativity out of your life, prioritizing yourself first with Allah God, first with God, so that you are able to discern what is extremely dangerous if you manifest your presence.
Hey, Christopher, I appreciate that. I was hoping somebody from the nation would call because Islam means peace. And when you talk about bringing in the science about it, we look at the protons and the neutrons and the electrons, and
yes,
you're going to have the same number of protons and electrons. So that's why when we talk about the positive P,
yes, sir,
there's a negative counter that's to it.
And brother Kweku, can I say this?
Say this, and then we got another call, brother Christopher.
And when it comes to molecular composition, in order for a reaction to occur, there has to be either a sharing of electrons or the overwhelming of electrons for something to have a productive reaction.
Hey, brother Christopher, I appreciate
that.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Covalent and non-covalent bonds.
He said he ain't a philosopher.
Yeah,
I was scientist and a philosopher. Hey man, keep listening to the check-in.
We appreciate you. Thanks for checking in.
We're gonna go right to our
we got another caller.
Yeah, call. You got a question or a comment talking about peace for 2026?
I got a comment about peace.
Let's hear it.
Okay, people talk about positive attitude and negative attitude and all like that, but they never tell you how you go about getting into the state of mind of positivity. I used to read this book, a business book by Napoleon Hill. It's called Business as Usual. And
can you say that name again? It didn't come out clear. I heard Napoleon Hill. Can you say the name of that book again?
Business as Usual.
Business as usual. Okay.
And what you do when you first wake up, you have to mentally place yourself in the positive state of mind by taking other results already. And then that goes to a second level of the mind. People think like, truth is spiritual attitude, but the sinners think it's honest. So that's the difference, but it's the same. It's for placing yourself in the result of getting to that positive attitude.
Hey, I love it. I
would say, listen, the difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude, right? The way you approach it.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your call. We appreciate you checking in with us.
And it's so funny, like we talk about like those protons and electrons, the positive, the negative, and what do you do? It was something that for the if you want to say the counter side, it's acknowledge, and that's acknowledge the stuff that you're not good or the stuff that's bad. Almost like those people in places. It's kind of a redundant thing. It's a recurring thing. There's a we read the Proverbs and things in the Bible. There's a book called the I Ching with Wu Wei. It's Eastern philosophy, and it says if you are too weak to overcome habits that are obviously bad for you, then indeed your future is bleak. And when I heard that the first time, I was like, "Ooh, that's chilling." So if you are too weak, and it's not weak like, "Oh, I can't do it," but like too weak to even try to get better, to try to learn the stuff, to try to get the people around you, and you just say, "Hey, this is just who I am. This is what I'm gonna do." It says if you are too weak to overcome the habits that are obviously bad for you, then indeed your future is bleak. So if you want peace, and you know those things that destroy your peace, if you don't do it, well, you already know what the future is. So we got that.
It.
We got another
Kweku,
call.
we got another caller. Caller, you got a comment or a question?
Well, I just wanted to give a comment. There's nothing wrong with being peaceful, but if you go low and step on my pinky toe, I can open the devil's door and be a nigga B too, and I swear by that every day. If you hit me there, hit me on the left, I'm going to hit you all over your body. And sometimes when they disturb your peace, you got to let them rot like a dead dog. And if they get hit by a Mack truck, don't even dial 911 because that is your peace.
Hey, you know
Have
what?
a good day.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate that comment to this extent. You know, whenever they call, I'm always laughing because I always got jokes, rhymes, alliteration, and everything. But there's a truth to it. It's like sometimes people think, Michelle Obama once famously said, when they go low, we go high. Yeah, like I don't know about that, because sometimes people steal your peace because they take your meekness for weakness, and it becomes a point where I gotta tell you, I'm not gonna let you abuse me. I'm not gonna let you disrespect me. And this is what I tell my sons. I say, listen, man, we don't hit women. But I say, you don't let no woman hit you. So you gonna have to stop her, and then you got to move around. But we just not punching bags. So sometimes we say, oh, don't do this, but it's a counter to that. I'm not gonna sit up and let you abuse me. And if you do, that's how your peace gets stolen, by letting yourself be belittled and downtrodden and whatnot. So even though it was said in a funny and a comical spirit, I'm on 100% with that.
Right. And so I think that leads into my C of the piece,
come on.
which is the C is create boundaries. And so if somebody's getting you to that point that you feel that way, then that's when it's time to say, you know what? That person may not have access to me anymore. You got to be able to create the boundaries. So I appreciate what you were saying, sister. But at some point, the question is, how would you go about like allowing that to not be a part of it? So when you think about boundaries, a lot of times what I want to say is the form of self-love. We talked about that prioritizing self. Boundaries are self-love. And so a lot of times we think about boundaries as walls. I say boundaries are not walls, but they are instructions. Boundaries are instructions. They're instructions to kind of teach people how to treat you. I always say you have to show people how to treat you. What you accept, what you're a part of. People know what you're expecting based upon your boundaries. How you even brought up I'm talking about people, but it also could be activities that you're involved in. I mentioned how my Sunday bath, I set boundaries, and I'm really firm on those and unapologetically as well. So boundaries, creating boundaries. If you want to have peace in 26, you need to figure out what boundaries do you need to set. Which ones maybe are causing you grief? Which ones are actually adding to your life?
And see, I'm gonna just put a little twist on there with my C, because now that's crutches. And sometimes our peace comes because we hang on to other people. So by us getting peace, we distract from their peace. You kind of talked about before, other people who be draining you. Sometimes we have some crutches in life, and those help to give us a sense of peace, but it's not a true peace. It's a fraudulent peace. It's a fledgling peace. It's a passing peace that cannot sustain itself. So it's just like there's the thing when we talk about addiction. Somebody says when it's over, I'm overdue, and it says it's hard to get enough of something that almost works. So when a lot of times people are caught up in the throes of addiction specifically, they'd be like, "Why would you do this? This is no good for you." So the first thing I say, well, if they doing something that they know is not good for them, it must be doing something for them. So if I'm drinking because it allows me to mask the pain, even though I know it's going to have some long-term consequences, guess what? I'm willing to do that right now. But see, that's a crutch. And so it's okay to have a crutch. But when that leg heals and gets better, you no longer need that crutch. Sometimes we hold on to things longer than what we think we need to, because it's giving us the illusion that gives us peace. But that crutch really slows you down if you don't need it. If you need it, it's absolutely essential for walking. But once you no longer need it, it becomes a hindrance, but you become so used to having it that it's there. So what I want to invite the people to look at, what are the crutches that you've had into your life? Those things that once were good, but they served their purpose, but you've gotten so used to it that you think you still need it, but you don't need it quite like you think you do.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that.
Come on, add to it.
My question, what can you add to me? My question to the community audience right now, I'm thinking, are you the crutch? Are you being providing too much? Sometimes it kind of creates that crutch for somebody
Enabler.
else. You're being an enabler.
All
Are you
right.
being a crutch for that?
I want to live in my mama basement for a couple more years, so just calm down.
But I'm thinking about even like sometimes with school, like nowadays. Before, if your teacher called sometimes to the house, you were like, oh my goodness, I got to make sure I get my stuff in order. Nowadays, kids are calling, the parent or the teacher calls home, then that parent is like ready to go up there and like sometimes
beat up the
teacher and be the crutch
That's
for
why
the
the
students.
teacher slapping these students.
Oh boy, don't see, that was the coach. Don't do that. Don't do that.
There's some teachers too.
Yeah, no, you're right. But again, the question is, are you using a crutch more than you need to right now?
Yeah.
And then the other question, are you being a crutch for somebody in your life?
Now that's powerful.
Okay, we're at C. Are you ready to go on?
No, to E.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had another.
No,
you good?
No,
okay, so we are at the E for the P. So there's another E in it, and I picked. I'm gonna pick extend compassion, and I'm picking that one, thinking about how we need to be able to. How we need to really be able to be gentle to ourselves and be gentle to others. Empathy, I feel for you, but compassion is like, I feel for you, but I'm also going to do something to help you with the situation that you're in. So how do you go about extending compassion? So when you think about your side of the piece of E, what comes to mind for you?
Well, see, mine is always on the opposite side of what it is. And it goes, I try to do with a recurrent theme. So you say, well, you're saying the same thing with each one. That's exactly the point. My E is excuses. So we talk about crutches. And I learned a long time that excuses are monuments of nothingness. And they build bridges to nowhere. And those who use those tools of incompetence are masters of nothingness. And so if I don't want to be a master of nothingness, I got to make sure that whatever bridge I'm building, it goes from point A to point B, and it's for a reason. And one of the times when we don't have pieces, we make excuses. Well, I could have this if I did this, but I ain't did this because of this, or I ain't did this because of that. And so what I try to tell people is, say, it's some real barriers out here. There's some real hurdles. Absolutely. But some of the hurdles are ourselves. And we do it because of a lack of discipline, a lack of really understanding of what we have to do for ourselves. So when we start talking about some of the things that steal our peace, that I think there's no, you had talked about this a while ago when we talked about when you die. And they said that the graveyard, I think it was Miles Monroe, you got it from, said, holds the biggest dreams, holds the biggest thing. And it's excuses on why, that's why I was kind of getting on Michelle that time. I was like, woman, write that book. All that knowledge you got in your head, all of the stuff you have to share. You write articles every week, get this book out and put it in the form. So when we start saying, well, what's the excuse? Well, I got to do this and I got to do it. And some of those things are legitimate. So what I tell everybody right now is to look within yourself, not at the person next door. So I'm not looking at Michelle. I'm looking at Kweku right now. What's the excuse I got for not doing the things I'm supposed to do? I can't blame my sister for giving me candy if I eat it, because I got the choice to give it away. I got the choice to do other things. But I said, well, she bought it. I don't want the money to waste. So I'm like, so when we talk about excuses, but the thing is, when I eat those candies, and then I get the dark spots on my face, then I get the beaties, then I get my left foot. Those are the excuses. Like, man, the life ain't fair. It ain't that. But those are excuses that I made that created that situation. So what I'm saying is, there's enough hurdles and obstacles in this world. So if we can eliminate some of those self-made excuses, it just makes it a little bit easier. I think we coming up on a break, Jermaine. We coming up on a break. So between breaths, we're going to come back and lift every voice and bring back this safe place. And we're going to talk about how do we sustain peace in 2026. We love you, Milwaukee. The check.
You're listening to the check-in. My name is Dr.Alisia Moutry, and I am joined by my brother, Kweku. We are here today. We're talking about peace in 2026, and we've got some callers that have come in to just add in. Again, when you think about the word peace, we're saying, that inner calmness.
Yes.
What are you adding to your life? What are you subtracting out of your life that provides you more peace in 2026? And so we had an opportunity to be able to take the word peace and just break it down into words that we believe that will add, and then I'm going to have you to do what subtract. But the ones that we have that we've created so far, I'm just doing a recap for my note takers. First, the P is being able to prioritize yourself is really important. That energy check, what's adding to you, what's subtracting from you. How are you allowing rest? Like, rest is not an option, but it is a priority. We want you to be able to see, to be able to create boundaries without exception. Boundaries are not walls, but they are instructions on how to make people treat you. And then the last one is to be able to extend compassion. So those were some of the things that we want to add to our life in 2026 to create peace. What are some things that we maybe need to subtract, Kweku?
Yeah, well, we want to be very careful with the people and the places. If we know that these are the things that take away our peace, we want to be careful not to put ourselves back in those situations. And then the E is we want to be careful not to exacerbate small things and make them bigger than what they are. We respect all problems, but we don't create and give it more energy than what it deserves. And the other one is to acknowledge the stuff that we know, again, is not good for us. And if we continue to do, we know it's going to take away our peace in so many different ways. And the C is crutches. Understand, what are the crutches in your life that you've used at one time that were really helpful, but now it's really keeping you from being the person who you need to be, keeping you from your peace. And the last E was, again, excuses. So we talk about, let's not make excuses on things that we have control over. There's enough obstacles in our lives through the world that's our real obstacles, but the things that we do have control, let's make sure we tighten those things up to maximize our ability to have peace.
Right. And I didn't get to talk about that excuses piece before break, but I do want to just add one thing to that. When I think about the excuses are real. But again, it depends on how long you stay there. Acknowledge the excuse that may be real to you, right? But the question is, what are you going to do about it? That's the next step. So address them, acknowledge them, but then the question is, what are you going to do about it? We just don't want you to live there in those excuses. So I really appreciate that. And that's one of the things, like, as we begin to talk about peace for 2026, I'm going to push us to say other things that we talked about before we get into why is it so important for peace to be a part of our 2026. As you heard some of the things that we talked about, what stands out to you personally that maybe that you personally need to add and or subtract? And if any of the producers in the room feel something that you personally want to add or subtract to make sure 2026 is more peaceful for you, what might that be?
Yeah, well, it was the E that we said that was kind of jokingly to exacerbate. It's like when some kind of problem, some kind of situation arises, don't make it more than what it is. Sit back, kind of evaluate the situation and say, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I can control? What are the things I can't control? Those things that I can't control, I put my energy into that. Those things I can't control, I got to pray and wait.
Yeah, that's good. The one that stands out for me, and we've had a chance to read them a few times, but the one that just keeps coming back to me is that energy check.
Yeah.
So being able to look at all the things in my life, like what's filling my cup and what's draining my cup. There's a lot of things that I feel like are on my plate, and I just do it because it's just like a part of what I've committed to do. But do I do it like with joy, or am I doing it because I signed up to do it and now I'm like, this is a lot of work and I really am, it's draining me versus adding joy to my life. So I'm thinking that I need to do, I know that I need to do an evaluation of the things that I have on my plate and really prioritize those things that are bringing joy. I do a good job, first of all, of having stuff on my calendar that I believe bring me joy. But now I'm going on that other side. There's a lot of stuff that's on. I look at my calendar and I can look at everything that I see for the last month or two. There's some things on there that I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could remove 2 or 3 of those things, my life would be so much better.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. So anyway, so we are, anything from you guys at all? You guys good? Okay, so what we want to do just to close the show out is to begin, and we've talked about this piece, and somebody said, why are you spending like an hour to talk about peace? And so we just want to dig into why it's so important that you find a way to create more peace in your life for 2026. And again, that means maybe adding some things or subtracting some things, but you need more peace in your life. And if you do add peace in your life, there are some benefits from it, right? And so we're just going to talk about some of them and feel free to add in. But the first one, if you are in a peaceful state, you reduce stress and anxiety. And I don't know if, I'm sure you know this, but in the audience, knowing that stress and anxiety actually can be harmful for our bodies. We think we're stressed about it and it goes on for so long. It actually can cause further damage and further illnesses in our body. So if we can find ways to create peace, then we also find a way to reduce stress and anxiety.
And for my men, I want to tell you this, because when we have that stress and that anxiety, we release a neurochemical transmitter chemical called cortisol. And that cortisol has a tendency to end up in a man's belly. So when you always talk about, oh, he got a six pack, it's not just because it's sexy looking, but that's a sign of physical health. Because when mentally you're not at peace, you reduce that cortisol and it tends to end up in your gut, in the extension of your gut. So when you see a man with a bigger belly, it's not that it's unattractive physically, because my cousin told me when I started to get a little something, he said, ain't nothing wrong with a little playground. But when that playground is too big, that is an outer sign of that stress. That's an outer sign of what's going on inner with you. So keep a check on that, young man.
So peace is important. And older men, you're absolutely right. Started early, right? So again, why is peace important? Again, that reducing the stress and anxiety. Another thing why peace is so super important is because when we are at a peaceful state, that means that I'm at a place that I'm calm. Nothing around me can really bother me because I'm internally, I'm okay. I'm uncheckable. There you go. So when you are in that place, you do clearer thinking and you make better decisions. So there's nothing like being at a high and having a lot of anxiety and trying to make decisions. It looks a lot different than when I'm clear-headed and when I'm level-headed to be able to make some decisions.
That's in the famous poem If by Rudyard Kipling said, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blame it on you. And it's something special about being the person who's calm in the midst of chaos. That's a peace. And if you even go biblical, it talks about a peace that passes understanding. So how can you have a peace that passes all understanding? It goes back to Islam, meaning peace. Usually there's a guiding structure that centers you, that allows you, that even when there's chaos and calamity around you, you know that there's a peace and a power structure that's going to be able to help you regardless of what the situation looks like on the outside.
Yeah, no, I love that. And so we're going to take a pause right there. We got another caller. You got a comment or a question?
And it's got to be quick because we down to the last few minutes.
We're talking about peace in 2026. How would you like to add to the conversation?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi there.
Hello.
You're on the check-in.
This is Al Holmes.
Hey, Coach Holmes.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. And the best to you, beautiful.
How can you be, well, I can barely hear you guys. I'm in Janesville, Wisconsin. But you're talking about peace. If you haven't experienced it, you can't do anything about it.
Hey, that's a great
We've been in war most of our lives, and we know about war. We know battles. But peace is not something many of us have had very often in our lives. And to be able to pass that on, you have to do that through mentorship.
There you go.
And if you can't create a situation for yourself, there's nothing you can pass on to others. Just a thought.
No,
we appreciate
and that's
that.
a great thought. If you don't know peace, how can you get it? So when you know peace, make sure that you share that with others so they can get it. We got time for one more call.
Okay, one more caller. Thank you.
You're on the check-in. You have a question or a comment?
Comment.
Go ahead.
Hi there. You know, that peace, a lot of people don't understand how great peace is in your life. You can't think straight.
Yeah.
You should make strong decisions when you're not at peace.
Amen.
As the Bible do say, when you with God, you're at peace within, and you learn to be with peace within yourself. And when you get all that, if you notice, when you get upset, a lot of times your stomach starts bubbling and growling. All that pain there. I was going through a relationship one time, and I was it would bother me so bad, I went to go talk to a therapist.
Hey.
My blood pressure throwing through the roof. I took the individual with me. They didn't want to end up going there. They went to the next one, and we talking, and the therapist says, "Not you, sir. There your problem right there.
And
Right.
listen, and man, we gonna hit that on the other end. We gotta end it because we're almost done with the show, and that's what we talk about with peace. We don't want to steal your peace, but we thank you for that because what you said is so important. It says your body keeps the score. That means your body will let you know that something that's right. And what I love about what you just said is it says when I felt peace and I couldn't get it, I went and got some extra help. And guess what? That's part of the peace. That's what Coach Holmes was saying. If we don't know how to get it, let's get to the places that can help us get it, whether it's the church, whether it's a friend, whether it's a therapist. Let's go get it. We don't have to do it. That's why we the check-in. We gonna check in with the people who we love. We gonna check in and make sure that everybody got peace. And if we ain't got to check in with the people who can help bring it to you.
You got it. You're listening to listen. We have one more caller now. We're done. All right. Well, guess what? That went so fast.
It did.
Well, the first show of the year. I'm glad that you had an opportunity to check in. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Alisia Moutry.
And I'm Kweku Dr.Alisia Moutry.
We love you, Milwaukee.
We'll see you next week.